What is up, YouTube? That's it here. Today, I'm bringing you guys a rental team submitted to me by one of my Patreons. Every single month on Patreon, we have a little post where my Patreons can submit their own teams for me to use. Anyone in any tier can submit a team, and I'll show you guys the post right here. Even the lowest $2 tier, you can submit a team for use, and I'll do my very best to look at it. What we're going to be doing is having me use it, and I'll provide feedback on things I think you might be able to make just a little bit better. Like I said, this is the official post right here, and again, this is also a great way to see a bunch of different people's rental teams. We're going to be using, which team first? I think we're starting at the very top right now. A team made by Jack. They submitted it as well to the last one, and I didn't get a chance to use it, but I'm going to try my best to do every single team this month, and they want to use Regi. They think Dragon Energy is a really underrated move, and lots of the Pokemon spreading damage on the board is like a really, really cool way to play. This team has like Cali Shadow, Kyogre, Regieleki, tons of AoE damage on this team, and I really do like it. Yeah, there's lots of fairy Pokemon, and there's good Pokemon that can pin fairy Pokemon. So even though there's a lot of Zacians, Kyogre has a good matchup against Zacian, Calyrex Shadow has a good matchup against Zacian. And it also has like Shadow Rider with Imprison to stop Trick Room. Thank you for looking at the team and for all the great content. They show the Pokepaste, the rental code, all that good stuff. I have the paste over here as well, which you totally can't even see because I suck at being a YouTuber. There we go. So it's like a 2v2 set on the Regi. It's a, what is it? It's just a standard Kyogre set that looks like it outspeeds Aleki and Tailwind. Standard 2v2, Cali Shadow, Vested in Sin, something you don't see all that often. And then it looks like it's a bulkier Torn with a, well, it's an aggressive Torn, but it has a Citrus Berry. And then the last one is like the Aleki set that it won't even let me look at because like I told you I'm the worst YouTuber. But that's like my Aleki spread. It makes it so you don't actually lose your Aleki to, you know, big Sucker Punch from Urshifus or like Grass Guts from Rilla. And I just think it's a really, really cool Aleki set overall. So if you guys have ideas for teams you want to submit, think about checking out the Patreon. Like I said, I'm going to do my very best to look at all the teams, use them in videos, and it's just going to be a cool month. I'm doing my very best to be very consistent on Patreon. Every other day, there's a brand new Patreon post. We're doing 2 tournaments a month. We're doing, you know, team fixing like we're doing now. We're doing all my rentals go up on Patreon as well. So if you guys have ever even thought about checking out the Patreon, even the lowest tier, think about checking it out. I would really appreciate it, and hopefully we can have a good time looking at this team. I think first impressions of this team. Really, really good hyper-aggressive core. You know, I've been loving me some Cali Shadow recently. I've been loving Aleki. I think they go very, very well together. And you can even pair them with things like Ogre, and that's great. I do think Sin, if used correctly, can be really good on this team because you can use it in the very back to come in and layer up like a fake out to secure a pin on a Zacian or something else after Dynamax is gone. You can also use it as a good pivot for coming into Protector Cali Shadow or Regi. You know, Cali Shadow is weak against like Ghost Arc, stuff like that, and Sin Resist. Regi weak against like Ice and stuff like that in Sin Resist. So I understand why the Insin's on the team. I don't think I'll be using that much Insin in my games, but I understand why it's there. I like the Imprison, Trick Room, good stuff. Trick Room's probably a hard match for this team in certain situations. I do think my biggest issue with this team is that Aleki should probably still have Thunder. I understand that you're going to be going for Rising Voltage on like a max move, and you want to hit for that big 140 base max special attack move. But realistically, Thunder hits for the same amount, and you have a Kyogre, so you might as well just put Thunder on there. You can also be, it makes Aleki just a bigger bully against other Ogres, because you still have that big damaging move, but you don't have to waste your max on it, right? So I think Thunder's a better option there. And the last thing I think is, I really think this Tornadus should just be a Whimsicott. I think the way that you're playing it, I understand you're trying to make people think that you have like Torn Ogre, and you can go like Tailwind, and then like if they set the sun, you can Rain Dance over them, and that's really good. But let's think about what Whimsicott bring to the table over Torn, right? Torn gets Tailwind, Whims gets Tailwind. That's great. Torn gets Icy Wind, which is cool to use after a Tailwind to regain more speed control. Makes it kind of like a weird Aleki, and also helps a little bit with like your Lando matchup. Whims doesn't get that. He gets like Cotton Spore and other forms of speed control. But what Whims gets here is Encore, right? If I Tailwind and you use a support move, I can just Encore you into your support move, and now your team has to fight a 1v2. So I think Encore is really, really good on these sort of cores, because the only way that these sort of cores can come in and break our team is by using like cheeky support moves, and Whims just disables their ability to rely on cheeky support moves because it makes them now a useless Pokemon that's spamming the same move over and over again. Torn gets Hurricane, Whims doesn't. So this makes it so our Rilla matchup's a lot harder, and you know, sometimes it's nice to switch in the Torn to cover up for that Grass weakness on Kyogre and then go for a Hurricane into the Rilla slot. But realistically, good players don't just let their Rillas go down to Hurricanes and stuff like that. I guess the only value is maybe you can go for an Airstream sometimes with Tornadus. Maybe we'll see if we do that today. That might be a reason to use Tornadus. If you're actually maxing your Tornadus a lot and going for Airstreams, think about keeping it. Because you can also go like Tornadus Alecki if they don't have Fake Out users, and go like Tailwind, Dragon Energy, and if they have their own Tailwind user, next turn you just max the Torn and just start Airstreaming out and continue to keep up the pressure. So that's a good option. They both get Taunt. I think realistically, on any Mon that I have, on any Tailwind setter, I would really, really, really like to see Protect on those Mons, just because you can protect the last turn of a Tailwind to then reapply a Tailwind, and it not only extends the use of your original Tailwind, but gives you a second one on top of it. So that's just my personal opinion on the team. Other than that, I think it's a really, really good team. The Lecky set's great. The Kyogre set's good. I understand why the Incin is there. I guess maybe with the Incin, if I would be playing a Pokemon like that I want to pivot to, maybe you would want to think about making the Incin into an Indeedee. It would give you some redirection, because like Indeedee Kyogre is great. You can just go redirection Spout against teams that are slow, or helping and Spout against Trick Room teams. Redirection Regi Drago is great. It protects you from Fake Out, and you can just go for big AoE. Redirection Lucky is great if you're going to max your Lucky, and also it lets you enable your Shadow Rider with like a Psychic Surge boosted move. Like, so you can just Psychic Terrain enables like Expanding Force. So there's a bunch of cool things you do with an Indeedee there. And the last thing that it does is it gives you terrain control, right? Your opponent's using like Tapu Finis to gain like Misty Terrains. You can go over that with an Indeedee, or if like, let's say you have your Kyogre on the board and you're really afraid of a Grassy Glide, you can just switch an Indeedee to take away its Grassy Glide for the turn, finish off your Spout, and not take a ton of damage on your Kyogre from a Grassy, from like a, whatever that real grass attack is, right? So I think that maybe think about putting an Indeedee over the Incin. I think the Incin provides value, but I think any way that you'd be trying to aggressively use this Incin in a lot of games would be detracting from a lot of your value, whereas this Indeedee can totally be that like third or fourth Mon that you just throw into a game to secure a KO. It basically functions the same way as the Incin, but with a ton more versatility, and it forces your opponent to have a ton more respect all game. So hopefully that intro wasn't too long. Again, if you guys have a team you want me to review, take a look at, and use in some games, think about checking out the Patreon. There's a link to it in the description. And without further ado, let's get onto the ranked ladder and play some games with this team. Here we go. Alcremie, Zacian, Ogre. Okay, a couple of fairies, so it'd be really hard to use Drago here. We also don't have like that much terrain control, so it's really hard to like weave in Ogre and like protect it correctly. We'd have to like read the Rilla switching in and go for like max lightnings with Kyogre on those turns, which is kind of hard to do since we're like trying to be Specs Ogre. Do I want to even go Zacian? Is that like a good lead? Not Zacian, sorry. Do I even want to go Torn? I don't know if I have to. I think there's nothing wrong with Callie as a lead. I think Callie, Lecky are just a really, really good lead with something like Kyogre in the back. And then maybe Torn. I like the Torn as a switch in when Rilla's pinned, and then I can use Hurricanes. I can, you know, just be a big bully from there. It'd be nice to bring Drago, but like a good rule of thumb, I'm sure anyone that plays like Regi Drago knows, you don't bring the Regi Drago in two scenarios, and this one fits both of them. The first scenario is if they have more than one fairy. So if they have two fairy types, probably aren't going to be bringing that Regi Drago, just because it's really, really hard to have any impact with that Pokemon. And they can actually just like get a board where they have double fairies and you have like a Regi Drago, and that's making your teammate have to do a lot more work because the Regi Drago is just super useless because Dragon attacks do not affect fairies. The second situation is they can only have one fairy and you still won't bring it, and if that one fairy is Zacian or they're restricted, so like Zacian or Xerneas, that's another situation where you wouldn't really be bringing the Regi Drago, just because it's too hard on your teammate. You're making your teammate do a lot more work. Yeah, your Regi Drago might be able to trade with the fairy's teammate, but that's like the best case scenario, and an even better case scenario than that would be just not bringing it and having a teammate that's useful in pretty much every situation. Just think of what, like, how much value a Regieleki or like a Kyogre would offer against a Zacian as opposed to like Regi Drago. So we see Alcremie Ogre. I wonder if it's going to be like a slower Ogre or like a super fast Alcremie. I'm actually not afraid of that Pokemon. I mean, I probably should be. They probably want to go for like cool Decorate strats, but like I'm just going to pop their Ogre in the mouth, and that's how we're going to win the matchup. I think we actually do have to max the Alecki here, and I'm not opposed to doing that. Just Astral up, and I think we're going to max. I think there's nothing wrong with maxing the Alecki in this matchup, and I do like the fact they're using a Rising Voltage set, but I think you could actually make this into just a Thunder set. I know that whenever you're using this Alecki, you're probably going to be maxing it, but you're pairing it on a Kyogre team, and it's here to check Kyogres, so you should probably just use Thunder because they end up being the same max power move. And another thing you need to do is you need to PP max all of your moves that have 5 PP, Astral Barrages, Water Spouts, Hyper Beams. Those are really, really important. You have to max those. Like, Pressure is a really, really big ability in these restrictive formats, and wasting 1 or 2 PP on those really, really big power moves, especially on a team that's packed with choice scarfs and like choice, just random choice items and stuff like that, it's really, really hard to actually keep up that pressure when you only have 5 PP. So be sure to use those PP maxes correctly. So big Lecky, again, you can go Protect Decorate. It does go through, but we want to be able to one-shot that Ogre, and I think they're maxing Ogre. Like, I have no idea. You could max your Lecky, your Alcremie, but it doesn't get you anything. Poor guy. And again, you also can't like Walkenberry away this big electric attack because I got the big Calyrex on the board. So I think like worst case scenario, we're getting like degleamed, you know, just to break my Cali Sapphire. Look at this damage. Oh my goodness. Alright, so that looks to be a vested Ogre. I didn't actually think we'd get the KO. That was a crit. That's super vested. Holy vest. That's the biggest. I can't even believe an Ogre could be that bulky. Full special attack, Transistor, modest Life Orb, Lecky, Max Lightning. That was a crit, by the way. Like, we barely killed that with the Shadow Rider. Like, oh my goodness. I've never seen an Ogre that bulky. He's totally going for the Decorate. And they're going to try and one-shot my Lecky. Yo, I'll take those wins, though. So, Grimnay as well. Poor Decorate. Poor Decorate, yeah. That was probably a full HP specialty vested Ogre. We crit it with the max move. And it didn't even go down. I didn't even know you could EV train an Ogre to live that. That's ridiculous. So now what do they send out? Like, Zacian? Good luck, Chuck. I'll just one-shot anything you send out with the Selecki, and then I'll finish off the Alchemy and get a second Grimnay boost. So this one's pretty much over. Incineroar. Now we also have the Steroid from the Lecky Terrain. And then once I'm out of max turns, we still have 2 more turns to go for Rising Voltage. So I can understand the usefulness of Rising Voltage. I've liked it a lot on Zekrom in the past. It's just that I do think Thunder is just a little bit more value in most case scenarios. And like the 30% chance para is pretty nice. 30% of the time, every time. This Incin's about to be going down. Battle's canceled. That's the right play. We do be taking those. Get absolutely wrecked by Calyrex Lecky. Dracovish. Now that's a name I haven't seen in a long time. Remember, the rules of bringing Regidrago state that if they have more than 1 fairy, you shouldn't bring it. And if they have a Zacian as their only fairy, you still probably shouldn't bring it. But I'm gonna bring it. I want to actually bring Regidrago, and I think that we can actually make a really cool board state where if I go, because another way that we can kind of break that rule is you should really think that you should be bringing Regidrago if your opponent has obviously things that are weak to Regidrago. We have priority speed control, dynamic speed control, and Tornadus, and we can outspeed their Dragapult, their Dracovish, all their cool stuff, and just pop them in the face with a big Dragon Energy. But also, they don't have Fake Out, right? So we don't have to max the Regidrago, which means we can safely go for Tailwind, safely go for Dragon Energy, even if we lose one of our Mons, then we just bring out the Kyogre and win the game, right? Easy. Very, very easy. They also don't have an Incense. Like, there's nothing stopping us from bringing Kelly Shadow in the back. So this is a great game to show off potential what Regidrago can do, I think. And if we are able to, we also might just max the Regidrago, realistically. Dragon's Fang max Wormwind, tons of damage with the use of the Dragon's Maw. I think it's called Dragon's Maw ability, same as Regieleki. I think it's a 1.3 boost. Really, really good stuff. Great way to kind of slow down their Groudon's sweet potential. So really, really good stuff. And Dragapult Zapdos. Dragapult Zapdos really doesn't want to mess with this, I don't think. I almost want to just go for like Icy Wind Torn to break Sash if it's Sash Pult. Do I need this Tailwind right now? I do. I need to actually Tailwind so I can make my Regidrago faster than the Pult. So Tailwind's up. And look at this. Another example. You gotta PP max these. You gotta PP max them. It's so important. Pressure Zapdos if that's pressure. Like, we're already gonna be almost out of Dragon Energies after this. So big Dragon Energy. If they do not max, they're probably gone. Dragon's Fang, Dragon's Maw. They're maxing the Zap, so they're probably going to be Airstreaming. Unless they're maxing the Pult. And if they're maxing the Pult and Airstreaming, I don't really care. If they're maxing the Pult and Wormwinding, I also still do not care because they're going to have Cali Shadow. So the Zap's probably the right play, but the fact that we have Tailwind is huge. We're going to get a KO here on something, probably, or at least clock Sash on Pult. Do like over half the Zap. Then we're going to be able to bring in Cali Shadow and just finish it off. So big Tailwind. You Sucker Punch Pult? No, it would have already activated, right? Oh my goodness. Yeet! It is Sash Pult, just like I said. The big Sash Pult. I would have liked to have gotten a KO, but it's okay. And darts. Huh. Alright, so they're going to get a KO on something. The good thing about our Regi Drago set is we actually don't have to continually use Dragon Energy. Max Lightning, so they're taking out the Thundy. Okay. This is a good situation for me to be in. I actually think what I'm going to do, I think we bring out Kali Shadow. I really don't want to get Sucker Punched, though. I guess I have a Sash. It's fine. Yeah, I'm fine. I have a Sash. Well, their Orb Zap too. Let me think about this. Because, like, I could bring in the Kyogre and max the Drago here. I should just save the Kali to max in the back. They also did an Airstream. I do have to watch out for Sucker Punch. I think Sucker Punch is the biggest problem. But it's fine. So we're going to go Astral. I guess we could even think about going... No, I actually like the Electric Train, so we can't bring out, like, Venudon and be an issue. Gotta PP max these. Yeah, and I can just Dragon Energy again. Ooh, I could Ancient Power this. Bro. I'm totally doing it. Let's go. Give me that Ancient Power proc if I need it. No need to waste the PP on Dragon Energy, right? Max Guard's fine. So we're going to get a KO on the Pult. They might show Sucker Punch. It's fine. Sucker Punch. Good play. I was really worried about Sucker Punch, but I do have the Sash. We're going to be trading a Grim Navus for this, so this is great. So it's not like we realistically need our Sash. It's not like they can do anything else. So, yeah, I'll take a +1. Y'all know I'm a big fan of Specs, Kali Shadow. So I would have definitely played that differently. I would have sent the Ogre out, and I would have maxed the Ogre and doubled into the Zap slot, because even if they switched out the Pult for Groudon, we would have still been able to get the KO. So we still had the options there to play around Sucker Punch Pult. But it was a pretty obvious Sucker Punch play just by how they kind of layered up that first turn. I was kind of able to scout that from the team preview. Another thing that means their Venusaur does not have a Sash. So it's probably like Vested, Policyed, or potentially like a Wide Lens. But you wouldn't be Wide Lens if they set the Electric Train. So it's probably like a Vest or Policy set. It might even be like a Koba set. It doesn't realistically matter. We can now KO the Zapdos here. And we're definitely going to be just one-shotting this Groudon, I think. Big damage. I think this will finish off Groudon. Even the Groudon's probably Vested. I know I'm probably the only person that still likes running Vested. I think a lot of people have switched over to Koba. I know, what is it? Akaberry's still a decent choice, too, for, like, the Venusaur / like, Charizard matchup. Big Regi Drago, though. Big Regi Drago. I doubt that Groudon has Protect. Even if it does, it's going to be getting an attack drop. And, here we go. Astral. Yeet. Oh, my goodness. I didn't even need to max the Drago. I just went all in. And here we go. Grimnay all the way. I do be loving me some Regi Drago. There's such an underrated mon. It's probably actually a better max mon than, like, every time I use Drago, people say, why isn't your Regi Drago Choice Scarfed? Why isn't your Regi Drago Choice Specs? I really like the Dragon Fang 1.2 boost that pairs with the Dragon's Maw ability 1.3. And making it just a really, really good max mon for, like, single target. The last one's Zacian. Do you see what I was talking about? I want to throw this out here. What did I say? Don't bring this Pokemon when you fight against Zacian. It's, like, the worst thing ever. It's fine, though. We're going to be fine. The Calyrex has enough damage to just, like, pop it like it's hot. We actually don't even want a Rockfall. Like, oh my gosh. A Kali Shadow's probably going to one-shot it. But we don't want to Rockfall in case he protects. So we'll Rockfall, like, next turn if we have to. But you see what I mean? You see it? Yeah, let's cancel. We'll take the win anyways. We saw the Ogre in the back, so we were going to be able to win. But still, it just goes to show that, like, Regi Drago can sometimes be a liability as opposed to, the best Pokemon you've ever seen in your life. Reshiram. Love me Reshiram. Sableye is also a little bit dicey. I'm not the biggest fan of having to deal with Sableye. Huh, this is the team that, Top Cut Milwaukee that used, like, I remember the Venu, and it's Sunny Day Sableye to enable Venu. Okay, so I remember a little bit about this team. I think it's a Vested Reshi. Okay, I don't remember if that's a support Torn. I could look it up. I realistically could just look it up, but this is fine. Do we just want to go Kali here? I think Kali can just be a huge bully. I like the Specs Kali, man. I'm just a big Specs Kali guy. They don't have any other real Sun. I guess they could lead Sableye, but like I don't realistically care. Like if I were to lead Callie and Kyogre, I'm literally just gonna be really, really angry. And another thing I could do is lead like Kyogre Lecky and just go for a max strike. I think there's a Hyper Beam. This is my Lecky set that they're using here, so it's one that I like. And then I just bring Torn in the back and Callie. I'll do this. I think this is good. You may be thinking, you don't use a Lecky. They have Lando. Well, I can max strike a Lando to make it slower for Kyogre to outspeed. So I actually like this sort of lead a lot. You know, I was using a little bit more Kyogre like last week when I started back on like my hyper aggressive tendency train, and I think that like Kyogre is just like it's not like a discount Callie Shadow, it's just a bulkier Callie Shadow that's made just a little bit differently. Their win cons are still the same. If you get them speed control, they do tons of stab damage that just melt people out of existence. So Sableye, Venu. They're gonna Sunny Day here. Right? They are going to Sunny Day, but it really depends on what they want to do with it. Do I even need the Kyogre here? It's a great question. Yes. Yes, I do. Switch in Torn. Electro Whip. I think that's probably the best play. It's unfortunate to have to play this so defensively. But I think saving the Ogre to come in and go for like a max Hailstorm, if I can gain speed control from like a Tailwind or an Electro Web, it's going to be pretty nice. Yeah, and they're not going to be going for Sleep Powders. Hopefully, they're going into the Kyogre slot with like a Vine Lash. Because this sort of gimmick that they're going for only really works once. Like, they went for the Sunny Day here. And if I was able to, you know, if I was able to like read that and just attack your Sableye and get it off the board, you can only go for that one time. You know, if I were just to max Hailstorm your Sableye this turn, on a turn where you would read this and nuke my Lecky instead, your gimmick's gone. I bring out the Torn, and then I just regain the weather and I win, you know. Vine Lash into Torn slot. That's the right slot, I think. If you're trying to keep me honest, for the way that their team should be played, this is how you should be playing it, right? You want to go for the damage, you want to get the Kyogre off the board, and what I'm doing right here is I'm going to be making it basically so the Kyogre can't, so the Venusaur can't really get what it wants to get done. So there's that. Good stuff so far. I'll take Vine Lash damage. We'll waste a couple max turns, and then we'll bring out our Kyogre after the Sableye's gone and just roll him over. Try our best to waste these Vine Lash ticks, too. Do you think I could actually get away with this? I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to try and get away with, like, maxing my Torn, airstreaming, hard switching in my Ogre. That would be so freaking sick. It would. It would be the coolest thing in the world, I think. I'm just going to go for the Tailwind. And just another Electro. I think there's nothing really wrong with that. But damn, that would be clean, right? Tailwind's up. So this is basically going to enable us, if we can get the Sable off the board, to have speed control for the rest of the game. Quash is fine. Yeah, it is what it is. I can't really deal with that. Quake into the Lucky slot. Okay. So what you're telling me is I should have done that. Alright, let's see. This is bad. The Kyogre can't protect. That's like the big thing. And I have a Quake boost. I gotta get this freaking Sableye off the board. Would you quash my Callie or not? I realistically think if I can just get the save off the board, I win the game. If you were to quash my Callie, like, I'm going to do this. I am going to max this Thundy. I'm going to Airstream the Sableye just in case they quash so I can guarantee get it off the board. Like, let's say they go like some sort of weird play. This would still be fine. Unless they're quashing my... They would be quashing it. But they know I'm sashed. There's no reason to quash it. You can go for like literally another move. They might even ally switch here. Can't cope with me. I know you're orbed, but like, I'm gonna do this. I think this is a good play. I think this is the one time you max your Thundy. Or Torn. They're all the same Pokemon. Except for Landos, those are built different. So let's see what they're going to do. If I can get this guy off, basically, if they're not going for Quash, Astro will KO the Sableye, and it will redirect after doing good damage to the Venu and finish off the Venu. And then they'll be left without their support Pokemon, so I'll have to send out like Zacian, Reshiram, and then I can just bring out Kyogre and just pop those guys out. That's the idea. No Quash, good. Oh, it's left at 1! Oh my gosh, that sucks. I mean, I'm happy it's gone, right? I'm happy it's off the board. But like, oh, that's bad. That's so bad for me. Because now you're going to be able to get my Cali for free. You shouldn't even have had this Cali for free. That's a bulky Sableye. Quake again. I guess that won't... I guess Cali's fine. Unless you crit. Yeah. Crit there would have put me within range to take out from Vine Lash. We also want to get all those Vine Lash ticks done before Kyogre's come on board. So you can protect here for a turn. It should still be fine. We don't need to use Hailstorm, I don't think. Unless you bring out... No, even if you bring out Lando, I think we're still fine. We just think we just Hurricane it. Or Airstream it. Reshiram. There's the Reshiram. Yeah, that's okay. I think Max Torn is sometimes a really good Pokemon. Every once in a while, you see the Dynamax Torn pop off. Tailwind 2 turns. Last turn, Vine Lash. Yeah, I think you just go into that Torn slot. Hopefully we can KO it. Not Torn, I'm Reshiram slot. I don't actually think we get that KO. And we get KO'd by Heat Wave. So that means it's actually just a better play. Let me think about this. Is it a better play to just protect my Torn this turn? And then enable my Ogre next turn with my last Airstream? That is a better play. It's a way better play. Protect. We're going to lose the Cali this turn. I'd love to take that Venusaur with me. But I need to put this last Airstream on my Kyogre. Let's go. It's okay. See how bulky the Vested Reshiram is? I want to see Heat Wave. I think Blue Flare is a little bit too greedy. I want to see Heat Wave, but we'd still get the KO. Ancient Power. Holy crap. See, like, I'm not going to lie. I'm happy I protected there. If they got the special, if they got the boost there, the game would be over. Awesome. And now I can pass my last Airstream to a Specs Ogre. I think this is a much better play than just losing both my Mons that turn and bringing out just Ogre with a Tailwind expiring. I think it's a much better play. This Airstream is going to chunk this Reshiram too. Hopefully I don't PP out of Water Spouts. Please, please no. Airstream's going to do tons of damage here. Yeah, Spout should get this. Or not single target, but Specs, Rain boosted Spout. And now the Kyogre has the big speed boost. Yes, please. Let's go. When in doubt, click Water Spout. Alright. So there's the Reshiram going down. I think the last one should be Zacian, right? I can always retail when this is my last turn of whatever stuff this is. There's a Zacian. I could always Icy Wind too, but I don't want to miss. I think I'll just Tailwind and Spout. Because even if you were to like somehow KO my Kyogre with like a crit player for something, living at like 1 with a really bulky Zacian, I could just finish off with a Hurricane next turn. So I think we got it. I do think we have it. That was hard. That was a hard matchup. The Sableye made it a lot harder than I thought it would. But you can see how hard that team would be able to play in like a regional if I didn't have any info. Like I've seen that team on the ladder before. I was at the regional that it went into Top Cut with, and I'm friends with the person who used it. So I had just a little bit of info going into the match. But yeah, we're gonna Tailwind just in case. Like I said, it enables the Torn to do stuff later. That's Zacian's biggest weakness. It has no AoE moves. Single target, Rain boosted, Choice Specs, Water Spout. Kyogre taking those big wins all the way to the bank. This has been a great team. Hopefully you liked watching me play it, and thank you for submitting it. If you guys have any questions about how to submit your own teams, there's a link to the Patreon post where you can submit any team you want. I would like it if you had a rental code or like a PokePaste or something, but you can submit your teams. We're going to be using them basically all month, and yeah, I really like seeing the progress people are making. I love seeing them take sets that I make, tweak them slightly, and then put them in their own teams to put their own spin on stuff. I think this is a really, really fun team to play, and again, thank you so much for submitting it. So other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. Peace out, and I'll see you guys next time.